Hello, 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 everybody. I
Hello
am
there.
Tanika Steen, and I am your host for Mind Your Business. And tonight I have Melody Feather on with me, and she is going to be talking about her business and what she does. Melody was born and raised in Piedmont, North Carolina, and went on to earn a biomedical engineering degree as well as a doctorate in dentistry. Over the years, Melody has held positions in healthcare practice management, music ministry, public service, and strategic planning and operations for a biotechnology company. After many years of nonstop work and raising two sons, she experienced complete burnout and took a few months off to travel, volunteer, and to heal mentally, spiritually, and physically. COVID-19 extended this time off, but in the end, she is grateful for the new perspective she has gained on life. Melody now consults part time in the biotech field while she is building her own company that will support her lifelong dreams of helping others as she volunteers and travels in her retirement. Her ultimate goal is to build a leg of her business that provides opportunities for underprivileged and oppressed communities to learn how to believe in themselves and become self supportive. So, thank you for joining us tonight. I'm gonna let Melody jump right in here and tell us about who she is, what she does, and why she does it. And so, Melody, thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for doing this live with me. I know we talked about that. So, kudos to you for doing this. And we always can try something new. So I thank you for doing that for me.
Absolutely. So, first of all, Happy New Year to you and to all of your listeners here online. This is absolutely my first podcast, and I jumped in with both feet to do it with video, not just with audio. So, thank you for the opportunity, and please excuse whatever happens in error if we have some challenges along the way. But I guess just listening to that bio again is like, wow, I've sort of jumped around all over the place. What's the tying theme? And it really, I think, goes back to my childhood of where I really have just always wanted to help other people. And in a simple way, everything I've done has given me that opportunity. And while there have been moments of sheer joy and happiness and fulfillment, it just has always left an emptiness. So, part of my journey of traveling to Asia, actually, what took me to Asia was my older son who was stationed in the Air Force. He's a physician in South Korea. And then I had an opportunity to join a travel group to visit four other countries. I ended up getting to go to five because I spent the last 3.5 months unexpectedly in Bali, which was just a joy and an experience in and of itself. But a great opportunity for me to learn about other cultures, to volunteer, my time to get to know some of the local people, to experience firsthand Eastern medicine, and be healed medically as well as spiritually and mentally. So it's been quite the journey. It's been almost a year since actually over a year since I started on it. And I think the journey will continue. But what it has brought me is an opportunity to really get to know myself better and to restart. So that's where I am now. And the if I have to point to one thing for the restart, it was sitting in my chiropractor's office waiting for treatment. And I picked up a little book called The Boomerang Principle. And I think we all know what a boomerang is. Basically, if you're ever successful, you throw it out and it comes back to you. And in fact, I have to laugh. I gave one to my sons when they were in their teens, and it's been in the trunk of my car ever since. And when I started this journey, it's like, I think that's still in there, and it is. I still to this day have that
Wow.
boomerang. So there's been this message telling me I needed to pay more attention to it for years. So I finally picked it up. And have really enjoyed reading the book by Donald Epstein called The Boomerang Principle. It's a nice little blue book here. One of my favorite things, quotes from it, is simply this: When you express service, love, charity, prayer, laughter, compassion, passion, touch, healing, enthusiasm, commitment, and gratitude just for its own sake, your boomerang will bring you more prosperity, strength, acceptance, health, wisdom, joy, and sexuality than your conscious mind can ever conceive. And I have truly found that to be the case, because what I have started doing is building a new community of friends. And I expect all of you to become a part of that community. And the new term that I'm using is Soul Tribe, where we're connecting at the heart and sharing our passion and our mission for what we want to do in life with each other. So my ultimate goal, as you read in my bio, is to really be able to, in a proactive way, give back to folks who are oppressed and need help, and to be able to teach them to believe in themselves, as I have learned to do over the years. And
Uh-oh. Stay with me. We just froze.
so we've lost our host. I'm not sure whether you can hear me or not, but I am not seeing our host. So
We got disconnected there for a minute, but it's okay. We're back and everybody is still with us, I believe. But Melody, I am just so grateful to have you on because I can just see your passion and I can just tell when you very first started talking. And I always know, because I tell you, I don't script anything. We just let the Holy Spirit guide this thing. And most of the time we think we're going to talk about one thing and then the Holy Spirit takes it in a whole different direction, and that's what we want to happen. We want it to be real, uncut, raw, and authentic. And every time the Holy Spirit starts to move, the enemy gets busy. I can always tell because there's always something going on that will freeze us up or that'll try to make it stop, because the enemy knows that good things are happening and that we're connecting people together. We're connecting souls. And so I am grateful to be able to have the opportunity to talk to you, to hear about your journey and your experiences, and just to see the passion in your face. And that's the good thing about doing this live. We can see each other and we can connect and we can feed off of that energy, because being able to do this over a podcast and people are just listening, that's one thing, because you can imagine in the mind what's going on or how somebody feels or what they're, what's coming across. But at the same time, when you're able to sit down and have a real heart to heart conversation, you can connect on a much deeper level, and you can really see the energy and the passion that someone has. I've been going to counseling for 6 months. And when I first started going to see my therapist, it was over the telephone. And he said to me, Tanika, you are always in a good spirit. You always tell me you're good. And my whole life, I always say that. I'm good. How are you? I'm good. It's all good. Everything's good. It's good. No matter what I do, it's going to be good. No matter how bad it is, it's good. Well, he said once things got a little better, he wanted me to come into the office. That's when the game changed, right? Because I went into the office, and when I went in there, he wasn't able to imagine this person over the phone saying I'm good with this perky voice and this smile on her face. He was absolutely able to see the broken person that walked into his office. And when I walked in there, he said, "Oh, are you still good?" He said, "Because you've been fooling me." And this is what he said to me. And so, excuse my French, but he said, "You're a good bullshitter." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" He said, Tanika, this whole time you've been telling me that you're good, and we have these conversations, and you always find the good in everything, and you never once say anything negative. You don't ever complain. You don't ever, you just always make it like everything's okay. He said, Tanika, you're not okay. I can look at you and tell you're not okay. And I just started bawling right there in the middle of the office. And I'm like, oh my God. And I felt like energy had released out of me, and I felt like I was able to let my burdens down, and I was able to actually be real. And for the first time, I was able to be my real, true, authentic self. And so in the last 6 months, I've been having a lot of come to Jesus, and I've just been able to be in tune with myself, and being able to connect with people on a one-to-one level is really invigorating, because when COVID locked us down, and if you're a social person and you're not used to being around, I mean, you're used to being around people, now you're closed in, you try to make the best of what you can. And so when I started doing these podcasts, I've noticed that every single person that God puts me in front of, it's a soul connection. And so again, I just want to say thank you for, because you didn't have to go into your story the way that you did. And you didn't have to talk about what drives you and your passions, because we're supposed to be talking about one thing. But see, this is what God wants. He wants us to understand how we're connected, and how that energy reaches from one soul to the next. So thank you for bringing that here tonight, so that everyone can see that no matter how different and how far apart we are across the globe, we are still connected. And so thank you for that. Now, I don't want to continue to go on that journey, because unless the Holy Spirit guides us, but I just wanted to get that in there, because I think it's just good to be real, and to let people see, because we watch television and see acting and these fairy tale lives and all this stuff, and then you get in front of people and they put on these shows and they act like they've got it all together, but in reality, nobody wants to really see people always smiling and perky and happy, even though that's how we should be. But if you are not in a good mood and you see someone that's all happy and perky, it makes you feel even worse. But if you see someone in their authenticity of their spirit just showing through their passion and what drives them, then that person that might be broken can look at that and say, you know what? I thought they had it all together, but they're vulnerable. And if they can be vulnerable, then it's okay for me to be vulnerable. And it's okay for me to go through things and to have struggles, but I don't have to stay there. So that's what I want to go into next. I want to talk about, the transition that you've taken, and this journey that you were on, because I think that God leaves us little tools and nuggets along our way, like Hansel and Gretel. He leaves us little treats along the way. And so when you came in contact with that book, it was like a checkpoint. That's what I got in that, is that it's a checkpoint, and it was a boomerang, and it related you back to the boomerang that was in your trunk. And how much stuff do we have in a trunk that we need to clean out, right?
Right.
But that boomerang was that boomerang was still there. And it was just letting you know that what you put out is going to come back to you. So within that transition, I want you to, if you will, talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll get into, your background and how you came to just fully know this is what you want to do.
Cool. So two things came to mind when you were talking. One is many, many years ago, at one of my lowest points, I was actually in the city of Boston, very upset, walking down the street, had no idea where I was going, crying. And a homeless person came up to me and said, "Are you okay?" And and it's like, obviously I'm not. He goes, "Well, I just want you to know life is good and you're going to be fine." And I reached in my pocket for the bills that I had in my pocket, and I just wanted to give them to him. And his comment to me was, "I don't need that. I'm already blessed by meeting you." And I have never forgotten that. And I keep thinking, gosh, how great it would be for me to be able, at any given point in time, no matter how low it is in life, to be able to simply say, "I'm blessed." And I can say it occasionally, but I cannot say it on a regular basis yet. So there's a goal. but it's something obviously that brought up emotions. So there you are.
Absolutely.
It's part of me. I'm not afraid to show it and to share it, because that is the connection that we make with people. And the other thing that I thought about when you were speaking was, God sends us signs. I have been traveling with butterflies for almost 2 years now. At another low point, I basically said, just show me a sign that I'm on the right path. And I started seeing butterflies just everywhere. And the entire time I was on my journey, even during the winter months, it didn't matter. They didn't have to be live, but I'd see them on the sides of buildings, painted on buildings, on billboards. Wallpaper when I go in the bathroom. It was just incredible, but there was just this constant array of butterflies all around me. So I see that as my spiritual guide, just continuing to remind me that the path has been long, much longer than I anticipated it to be, but I am truly on a path that is going to take me, so that I can truly live my passion of helping other people. And then the irony with all of this is the company that it has brought me to is called ibüümerang. Now, how about that?
That's awesome.
It's a startup technology company that has products and solutions that compete with companies like Expedia, Experian, and Uber, but it's focused on saving the customer money. And if you remember, it was one of those savings opportunities that got us started to talk. And that opportunity is Bill Genius, which is a negotiating company that will go out and negotiate your monthly bills, like cell phone, utility bills, cable TV, internet. And they don't charge you anything unless they can save you money, and then you share the savings with them. So it's so great to be able to offer people something that is free to start with, and can ultimately help put money back into their monthly budget. I just love the concept, love the feature, love the company. It's built by a CEO who had made his millions, but found that he wasn't happy and decided to start this company so that he could truly give back to those in his community and around the world. So it feels great to connect with it. The other thing I like about this company is from day one, they had set up the iBoom Foundation. And every time anyone activates a customer account, a serving of proper nutrition is given to a child in need. And in the first 20 months, they have given over 6 million um, servings of nutrition. So
Wow.
it's not just a meal. They make certain that it's full, proper nutrition in that meal.
Man, that is awesome. I mean, it is really a blessing to be able to find out about stuff like this. And this is, again, another reason why I started this podcast, because there are so many resources out there that people are unaware of. And I do a lot of research and I dig. I'm like, I'm always looking for something and searching for something. And one thing leads to another. And then it brings me to a guest on my show. And so, I was really excited to find out more because over the last 2 years, we went from a three-family household to an eight-family household, and it
Goodness.
was just like, what just happened here? And for some reason, my theory is all we got to do is give love. Well, guess what? Love does not make your stomach full. So I can't feed people love. And I can't. And love doesn't pay the bills. Love doesn't get things going. And so, sometimes I do live out on a limb, and that's okay because I figure God's going to work it out. But it pushes me to a limit of having to be resourceful and having to make sure that I don't sink my boat. And so, I'm always looking at ways to save and looking at ways that I can help promote others that are doing good things. And so when I saw what you were doing, I'm like, this is really awesome, but I want to bring you on because I know that there are so many people that can benefit from what you have to offer. And not only that, we can talk about it. And then I can know more about it and get other people to know more about it. And then I can get you more people. And so I think it's a win-win for everybody. So again, it's so funny because it's like you are this biomedical engineer. And I mean, like, that is like big business. You're doing big things in that field. And then it's like, this is a whole nother spectrum. And so, how do you transition from, what you've done for so long to what you're doing now? Is that something that you're doing now? Is that what's always been a passion, or was your lifelong goal to be a biomedical engineer?
No, the biomedical engineering, honestly, when I chose that as a college degree, was a path to medicine. And for lack of self-confidence reasons, I chose to go to dental school instead of applying for medical school, which was where I really wanted to go. But, life has a way of throwing things at you, and I had some physical limitations and had to take a step back. So I spent the better part of 20 years basically bringing those two fields together in a practice management consulting area and helping physicians and dentists automate their practices, bring on billing and insurance online. It's come a long way ever since I started back in the late 80s doing that. But then it was just constantly looking for things that I could do part-time while I was raising my sons, one of whom is a physician, the other is a teacher, really proud of the professions they've chosen. um, and feel passionate about it. And that's where the music ministry came in. Was a choral and handbell director and did adequate keyboard work to support services for almost 10 years. And I really enjoyed the handbells the most because that was where I was leading a group that had to be collaborative and interactive together. And I had one multi-generational group where I had kids that were in upper elementary school mixed with the same group with folks that were retired, based
Wow.
based upon their level of music knowledge. And there was nothing more rewarding than watching those middle school kids help the retired folks keep up with the music and help teach them things that they weren't grasping. So I want to get back to that. I actually own a full set of handbells and hand chimes that are sitting right now, but that's a passion I want to get back to. But I look back at all of these things that I've done. When I was doing public service, I was a notary public. So I, over a 6-year period of time, actually did home closings for over 5,000 people on their loans. Most of them were in their homes. But I took the time to make sure they understood the documents they were signing rather than just saying sign here, sign here, sign here.
Mm-hmm.
And there was so much appreciation from folks that really were sort of clueless, especially the first time through as to what was going on. So there again, it was that connection with people. And while working in the biotech industry was great, I didn't have the people connection that I was needing. So this opportunity with the company ibüümerang just seems like that wonderful way for me to transition out of being able to work and earning money so that I can afford to retire, but transitioning to something that will continue to not only bring me income, but to give me an opportunity to teach others to do the same. So I'm working actually with ibüümerang with a team of professionals. We're all professionals, but just see the potential of this particular company and the way it's structured and the opportunities that it provides. And my goal, like I said, is to build a leg that is specifically focused on helping communities that need help. And my plan is to pay it forward for one or two, and then to teach them to do it so that they can pay it forward as well, so that we can keep proliferating the goodness that this opportunity has.
Yeah, and that's so awesome because a lot of times, again, when people see others that have their own business that are successful and that are doing things, they're like, oh, well, they just got it together, and it's going to take some time before I can get to that place. And I always say, you know what, just start whatever you need to do, just do it. If you've got a passion or a goal or a dream, just jump out there and do it. And I needed to take my own advice for so long. It was ridiculous, but I was always encouraging others that whatever your dream is, whatever your goal is, go for it, do it. But the thing I think that stifles people the most is where to start, where the help is, because what I've learned is people that are successful don't reach back and give a hand up or a handout. They feel like, I've done it on my own. You're going to have to do it on your own. Nobody's going to give you anything. And I get that and I understand. And again, this is another reason for this platform because there are sometimes you just need a crack of the door open to get
Right.
your foot in. And if you've got people that are gatekeepers, because that's what I call them, gatekeepers that are blocking you at every step of the way or telling you that your ideal isn't good enough, you're not ready yet, I don't get it, I don't understand it. Well, everybody doesn't have the same vision, but everybody does have a gift and a talent that they need to use. And so just because someone doesn't understand your gift or talent doesn't mean that it's not a place for it in the world. And so we've got to be able to force through that. And that's why I like this opportunity to be able to network and connect people because, like you said, you want to help someone that can help someone else. And I think that is truly the way that it's supposed to be, other than, okay, well, I'm here, you can work hard and it's the American dream. Okay, well, really, is it? Because sometimes we don't have a fair advantage to have that same dream. We've all got a dream, but we don't all have the same advantage. And
Right.
so when you have someone that is willing to say, hey, come here, I want to mentor you or I want to show you something. I think that's what's wrong with the younger generation. Because my husband and I talk about all the time, we're the Generation X, and I feel like we're the generation that had to do everything on our own. Nobody was there opening doors or helping us with anything. But this new generation is like, they have no clue how to do anything. And so when I was younger, I would go to people in different positions and ask them, what they did to get in that position. What is it going to take for me? Who did you need to talk to? What did you need to do? I would ask a lot of questions. I just would. And I think that the people that I was guided to would help me and would lead me in the direction. But that's as far as it would go. All they have for me was information. They couldn't give me anything else. And so I think in your position, in the position I'm in now, because for 6 years I've been studying NLP and mindfulness and just learning the ins and outs of how the mind works and how coaching works, how it goes together, why we have anxiety and depression, why we go through mental illness. I've done all this research, and a lot of times people don't have a clue the knowledge that I have, but that's okay. It'll come out when it's time. But the whole reason for that is because I've already done the work. I
Right.
want someone that is struggling or that's going through something to know that you don't have to do that. I've already done the work. Let me come beside you and help you out. And so now this is my business. And I think that what we don't understand is it's a business. And so, yeah, I do charge for it. But at the end of the day, I am not going to try to drain anybody dry because I know that sometimes people don't have anything to start with. And so I like to work around people and meet them where they're at so that they can say, I have a dream, but I'm not ready. I've got to wait 10 years before I build this up or whatever. And I've got a unique way of showing people right where you're at, you can start with nothing and you can turn it into something. And so, I feel blessed to be able to come in contact with people like yourself that want to do that because there are such good people in this world, but everybody is so busy doing their own thing or getting to the next place. I love that COVID happened. I don't love what's happening through COVID, but I
Right.
love that COVID happened to slow people down, to back us up and to make us look around and observe what is going on. And there has been a lot of newfound entrepreneurs popping up, people that have to jump out there and make a way. And there's still some that are struggling, not knowing that they can do the same thing. They just don't know where to start. And so, what would your advice be to that person that is at a crossroads that is like, feeling like they're stuck, because really I don't believe there's a such thing as stuck. You just haven't got there yet. But that feels like they're maybe in that position at a crossroads. What would be your advice to them? Or how could they get a hold of you to learn more about what you do? So maybe that might be an opportunity that can help them to start.
Yeah, well, I can give you website information, and I don't know how do you distribute that to your listeners. Do we give the links out, or you give them out later?
You can type it now, and then I will also post it on my website, and I'll put link from my website to reach out to you. So I'll have that on there. So anybody that comes through my website will be able to go straight to find your information and come directly to you. And you can also post your like just type it in the comments your information, and it'll come up on the screen so people can see it that way. And then I'll also, after we broadcast and I get the podcast and everything together, I go back and put that information back out there for you.
Got it. And I'm not going to type it now because I'm on my phone. So we'll
No
connect
problem.
later, and I'll get you that
No
information.
problem. We'll get it
But
out there because it's a
but
great information.
Yep. So there are two that I will give you that are pretty simple. At least I hope I've created links to make them simple. If you're interested in the Bill Genius program where you can save money on your bills, I've set up a bit.ly link, which is bit.ly/ and then my favorite color is magenta. If you can't tell, magenta, Magenta, the number 4, and then a B as in boy and G as in George for Bill Genius. And then if you want to know more about the business itself, simply change the BG to ME, Mary Edward. So we'll get those links out, and I don't mind sharing an email either. But, advice to people, I simply say keep dreaming more than anything else. Keep dreaming, asking questions, do your research, and thinking that it's going to happen. It's all about a positive mindset. I had it was on a meditation recently that basically said worrying is like praying for what you don't want. I love that quote. I just love it. So I've started using it a lot. And, it resonates with me because it's like, all right, then I need to think about what I do want. Worry isn't going to, we all know worry really doesn't get you anywhere. So take that energy and put it into what you do want. And it can happen. But once you start dreaming and believing it, you will be drawn to people. Throw that boomerang out. You will be drawn to people who will be able to help you. And it may not be the first person, it may not be the second person, but you just have to keep the communication going. It's all about communication, it's all about connecting. And I can't wait to include more of your people into my soul tribe because that to me is what it's all about.
Amen. And so, is there a link for your Soul Tribe, or is it on Facebook, a Facebook group, or have
I've
you got
got
it together yet?
a Facebook page that I'm just starting. To be honest, that's only a couple weeks old, but
Okay.
this is a work in progress. I don't claim to be anywhere down the road. I'm looking for people to join me. The rest of my business partners in iboomerang, it still needs some time. It's a startup company, needs some time to unfold, but we
Mm-hmm.
are dedicated to building a team. So it's not just me being able to help people, but it's people on the team to be accessible and available to folks whenever they need it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate the time that you've been on and just sharing your story and your information and your passion. And before we leave, tell people again about Bill Genius and what it can do for them so they can understand how important it is and how good it is for households that might be struggling and need to have that information.
Sure. It's a free service where all you have to do is take a picture of the front page of your phone bill, your internet bill, cable bill, utilities, and it even goes on if you're in a business, payroll accounts, storage units. I mean, it's tons of things that they can go out and they negotiate behind the curtain savings that you and I, if we tried to negotiate, we could never tap into. But because they are a business that does this, they have a rapport with these companies and negotiate on your behalf, and bring your bill down. One of my business partners saved $80 a month on her AT&T bill. My dad, on his home phone bill, he still has a home landline, and we managed to save $136 over 6 months on that. So all you have to do is take a picture of that bill, upload it. You do have to put a credit card information in, but that is only used if they can save you money. And then they share the savings with you, and you can pay them on a monthly basis. So you see your bills reduced every month, and then you pay a portion of that to Bill Genius for having done the negotiations for you. So it takes less than 10 minutes. The biggest struggle for people is to upload their bills, to take the time to upload their bills. But what I like to keep saying, what is your time worth? Because if you're saving a couple $100 over the year, or $10 or $15 a month, there have been people who have uploaded 3 or 4 bills and managed over a 2-year period of their contracts to save over $1,000. And their time to upload those bills was less than 10 minutes. So what is your time worth to you? And if they can't manage any savings at all, it's free. You've lost nothing but a little bit of your time.
And so is it a year-to-year contract? Is it a month-to-month contract? How does that work?
It depends upon what your contract with the company is. And by the way, you don't have to switch companies to get the savings. They negotiate with your current company. Sometimes with utilities, they will go out and do some comparisons, but with your phone, your cell phone bill and cable, they work right with the company you're attached to. So it works over the life of the contract that you have left. So if you're 6 months into a 2-year contract, then it works over 18 months. And then the really neat part is, after those 18 months are over, they will let it automatically renew, and then reach out to you and say, do you want us to try to go renegotiate again? And they'll do that. They let it renew, but then they'll stay on top of it of when your renewal date is, and reach out and say, do you want us to try to go renegotiate again? And in most instances, there's additional savings, usually not as much the second time around, but additional savings that they can get.
Okay, great. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Melody, for joining us. Melody, stay with me, and then we'll get your information, and that way I'll get the links to the website and get everything so people can contact you. And, I wish you much joy and blessings in this year. I just feel like good things are going to happen for you, and you have been on the right track, and now it's about to come back to you. Everybody that joined in tonight, thank you. I hope you were able to get some good information and understand that there is always help out there, and there's always someone that is holding some information that wants to connect and share it with you. And so if you are someone that has information that you would like to share with, or if you need something that you would like to share, then please contact me so we can have a show. We can talk about it. And I like to talk about your passion, what drives you, your resources, your gifts, and your talents, because there's someone else out there that maybe you can connect with, that you can have a network with, that can reach around the world to help others. And so I think that's what it's all about. I think it's about being about our Father's business. That's what he tells us to do, and serving one another in communities. And he said, what you do for the least of these, you've done for him. And so take the time and do something, because just because you think you might be in a certain position, someone that you think that is in a less position than you may just be the blessing. So if I didn't get anything from that tonight, thank you for sharing that story about the homeless man, because you don't know who you're coming in contact with. And sometimes you think you're the blessing, and the person that you are in front of is actually giving you the blessing. And so
Amen.
let's continue to be the blessing so we can get a blessing, because it's a boomerang, like you said. If we're going in front of people being a blessing, that blessing's going to come back. So be mindful. Take time to just look around and think about what it is that you can do to add and contribute to this world. And if you already have something that you're contributing, don't just think that that's your job, that's what you're tied to. It might be something deeper. So continue to connect with others, continue to share with others, because you don't ever know where it might lead you. God bless you on this night. Come back tomorrow, because I'll be back with my abundant health, abundant life journey, and telling you about all the good things that I've been learning and encountering, and just how I've become one with myself. And so I'd like to share that with you. And then on Thursday, I'll be doing mindful moments. But other than that, thank you, Melody, for coming. Melodic Adventures. How do we get? Can you tell me just a little bit about Melodic Adventures, or is it the same thing
Oh, that's
as
just
the building?
that's the name of my company, and
Okay.
the name of my Facebook page. So again,
Okay.
facebook.com/magenta for me will get you to that page.
All right. And we will get that information and get that to you. Thank you, everybody, that joined in. Robin, thank you for joining in and giving feedback. And as always, remember, you were created with a purpose. God bless.
Amen. Thank you. I am blessed.
Yes, Melody, that was awesome.